Pip and the Zombies. Stage 1. Chapter 1. My father's family name being Pirrip, and my Christian name Philip, my infant tongue could make of both names nothing longer or more explicit than Pip, so I called myself Pip and came to be called Pip. I give Pirrip as my father's family name on the authority of his tombstone, and my sister, Mrs. Joe Gargery, who married the blacksmith, Joe Gargery. I never saw my father or my mother. I never saw any likeness of either of them, but based on the appearance of their gravestones, inscribed Philip Pirrip, late of this parish, and also Georgiana, wife of the above, I pictured my father as a square, stout, dark man with curly black hair, and my mother as freckled and sickly. My 5 brothers, Alexander, Bartholomew, Abraham, Tobias, and Roger, were buried alongside my parents. They, too, had been killed by the marauding zombies that had once ravaged our land. My first and most vivid memory was of a raw afternoon towards evening. Ours was the marsh country down by the river, within 20 miles of the sea, and it was on this afternoon that I found myself in the churchyard where my family was buried. The dark, flat wilderness that lay beyond the churchyard, intersected with dikes and mounds and gates, with scattered cattle feeding on it, was the marshes. The low leaden line beyond was the river, and the distant savage lair from which the wind was rushing was the sea. I was alone, a small bundle of shivers, growing afraid of it all and beginning to cry.
"Hold your noise!" cried a terrible voice, as a creature started up from among the graves at the side of the church. "Keep still, you little devil, or I'll cut your throat!"
He was fearful-looking, all in coarse grey, with a great iron chain on his leg, a man with no hat and with broken shoes and with an old rag tied round his head, a man who had been soaked in water and smothered in mud and lamed by stones and cut by flints and stung by nettles and torn by briars, who limped and shivered and glared and growled, and whose teeth chattered in his head as he seized me by the chin. I knew at once I was in the grip of a zombie.
"Tell us your name," said the zombie. "Show us where you live."
I answered, "Pip, sir," and pointed in the general direction of our village, a mile or more from the church. The zombie, after looking at me for a moment, turned me upside down and emptied my pockets.
"You young dog," he said, licking his lips. "What fat cheeks you got! Darn me if I couldn't eat 'em, and if I hadn't half a mind to do it."
My cheeks may have been a bit full, and though I was small for my age and not strong, I had no desire to be zombie dinner, so I earnestly expressed my hope that he would not eat me, adding that, being so small, I would probably not be enough for a zombie such as he.
"What?" said the man. "Who says I'm a zombie?"
"You're lurking about the graveyard and plan to eat me. What else could you be?"
Well, that's a good point, lad, but I'm not a zombie. They caught me up in a zombie sweep, and they had me locked up as one, but I escaped. I'm not undead yet."
He looked down at the chain on his leg and back at me.
"Now, looky here," he said. "You know what a file is?"
"Yes, sir. I live with my sister and her husband, the blacksmith."
"And you know what whittles is?"
"Yes, sir."
"You get a file, and you get whittles, and you bring 'em to me."
At this he picked me up and set me upon a tombstone, holding me by the arms, and went on in these fearful terms.
"Tomorrow morning you bring to me that file and them whittles. You do it, and don't say a word concerning your having seen such a person as me, and be careful. There's a real zombie on my trail, and if he sees you, he'll catch you and tear out your heart and liver and eat you. Watch out for him. You may lock yourself in your room and tuck yourself in bed and think yourself safe, but if that zombie catches a whiff of you, he'll follow you home and tear you open."
I assured him that I would keep my eye out for the zombie, that I would get him the file, that I would get him what broken bits of food I could, and that I would come to him early next morning.
"Say, Lord strike me with a plague if I don't."
I said so, and he took me down.
"Now,"
he pursued,
"you remember what you undertook, and you remember that zombie, and you get home."
Good night, sir," I faltered. He hugged his shuddering body in both his arms as if to hold himself together, and limped towards the church wall. As I saw him go, picking his way among the nettles and among the brambles that bound the green mounds, he looked to my young eyes as if he were eluding the hands of the still dead, stretching up cautiously out of their graves to get a twist upon his ankle and pull him in. I set my face towards home, and making the best use of my legs, ran as fast as I could. This has been Pip and the Zombies by Charles Dickens and Lewis Skipper, abridged for audio. Read by B.J. Harrison. For more classic audiobooks, please visit www.thebestaudiobooks.com. Pip and the Zombies. Production copyright 2013. No part of this audio recording may be reproduced in any form except for the use of the original purchaser. This audio recording is licensed to the purchaser for personal use only, and may not be reproduced and distributed in any form or by any means without the express prior written permission of the copyright owner. If you think your friends will enjoy this book, have them purchase their own copy. Thank you for listening.